Hey, today I wanted to talk a little bit about the braided line from Eposeidon. Um, I was really first introduced to Eposeidon from the braided line. It was about a little over a year ago now. I was just cruising eBay and I was looking for really any kind of braided line, see what I could find, because I hate spending money like that. Braided line can be so expensive. And I got to thinking there's got to be, an alternative that isn't so pricey. And I came across these guys, and I bought a spool. And I have to admit, I'll be the first to say it, I was skeptical. The price is just unbelievable compared to a lot of the other big name brands. And so I got it, and I was going to give it a fair chance and try it, which I did. And I'm a bass fisherman, so for me, braided line is most of the time it's all about punching big, thick, matted, heavy weeds, fishing frogs and thick, heavy vegetation like that, and other things too. But for me personally, that's the two biggest places where I'm always using braided line. It's a must, and that type of fishing can really put line to a test, and you're going to know after not very long of fishing that type of thing if this line is good or not. So I did it, put it to the test, fished it, and I have to say I've been very, very impressed, and it's really the only braided line I've used for about the past year now because the price is so right, and I've been so happy with it. But the things that I look for in a braided line, no stretch, no memory, small diameter, great strength to diameter ratio, all of which this line has. The only real difference that I've noticed between the Eposeidon braid and some of the the big brand names that everybody's fished before, and I myself included, and always have been happy with, the only difference I've really noticed is the line coating. It seems maybe not as pronounced on the Eposeidon braid, and at first I thought maybe that might be a negative thing, but after fishing it and thinking about it, I'm kind of on the fence with the whole line coating now, I think, anyways. I'll kind of show you a comparison here. Well, first of all, this here is one of the very well-known name brands. This is the Eposeidon braid. These are both 50-pound test braid. I don't have the exact numbers, but just from feel, it feels like the Eposeidon might be slightly smaller diameter. But the coating, like I said, is the only real difference. And, I kind of think the coating, I know it makes the line, it kind of gives it a harder finish, and they do it for positive reasons, but I'm not so sure if it's that great myself anyways. It makes the line harder, which does help with preventing the line from digging into the spool or digging into itself on the spool. And it lays on the spool pretty good when the line is harder like that. But it makes the line less limp, gives the line more memory, and harder lines I think can kind of generate more friction in your guides when you're casting. So I'm not convinced that it helps with casting distance either. It may even lessen it. I personally haven't noticed a difference between the Eposeidon and some of the bigger names, the real expensive, well-known ones. I haven't seen any difference in casting, good or bad. So, but another thing about the coating is the line with the coating, I think, is so much, it's a lot less limp. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but I'm holding this here, and if I straighten this out, and I'll grab it from the middle, very little bend, if you can see that. A lot less limp. That's one of the real big names. And then this is same amount of line, the Eposeidon, which has a little bit less of that coating, I think, and I'll straighten it out just like I did the other one. Grab it in the middle. I'll try to keep it as straight as I can. and you'll notice not nearly as hard and rigid. It's a lot less limp, which personally I think is a good thing. So that's really the main difference that I've noticed in the line. Like I said, it's a really great line, and it's, I mean, well over half the price that you're going to pay for a lot of the more expensive braids, and I myself have found no reason at all that I'm going to switch. The price is tremendous. It works great. It's got the same great properties that you look for in braid. No stretch, no memory, small diameter, and it just works. So I really encourage you to try it, especially if you're looking to save money. And another great tip in the saving money department, even if you're a guy that, or a fisherman that is super brand loyal and you refuse to switch from the braid that you use now, you want to use the expensive stuff, that's perfectly fine. I'm brand loyal in spots too myself, and I was before I'd use this stuff. But one good tip that I've been doing with every single reel I own, and I've burned through several of these spools doing this, is I've been putting this Eposeidon braid as backing on all of my reels. I'll do a third to maybe a half of the spool first thing with the Eposeidon braid, and then I'll tie the fluorocarbon or whatever line I'm using and finish out the spool on top. The reason being is fluorocarbon can be so expensive, and I hate when I'll fill a spool with 120 yards of fluorocarbon, and through use, just regular wear and tear and breaking off and having to cut and retie, it's time to refill your spool, and 2/3 to half of that line you have on your reel hasn't even been in the water, and you have to take it all off and throw it away and start over. And that fluorocarbon and other lines can be so expensive. You're going to use half the line that you normally would if you're putting this stuff on for your backing, and it just makes sense economically. I mean, you're going to spend so much less money on the expensive fluorocarbons and stuff like that. So I've done that with every single reel I have, and been very happy with it. All you just got to make sure that you get the braid on good and tight on your spool, which you do anyways with any type of braid, but I'll get that braid on real good and tight and maybe lay some electrical tape over the knot and over that spool, and then just continue on with the fluorocarbon or whatever line you're using, and it works great. So it's a really good money saving tip for anybody who likes to save money and who doesn't. So there you go, guys. Just my thoughts on the Eposeidon braid. I really, like I said, encourage people to try it. It's been great for me, and I've really been happy with it, and you're not going to see me switching anytime soon, and I'll be getting more all the time. So hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks a lot.